Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
Yes. What's up, and welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown. I am your host, Mr. Mark Roxey, and I am delighted to be with you all tonight. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. Thank you for being with us. If you are coming to us through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, thank you for being with us today. We have a very, very special edition today. It is called The Recap. Yep, we've been talking about this thing forever. We have been talking about the Gervonta Tank Davis fight against Ryan the King Garcia, and it finally happened last night. We are pregnant with possibilities and super excited about everything that happened. So here we are. I've got my partner in crimes, both of them. I got Coach Dwayne. Fenn, what's up?
Hey, Coach, what's going on? Good to see you.
Yes, thank you for being.
And Brother Harold, wow, it's been a while. Good to see you. Always good to see you guys.
Yes, Harold Hunt, the partner in crime right here, the professional boxing judge, Mr. Harold Hunt. What's up, Harold?
What's up, man? Hey, let's talk.
Yes, let's get into this. We're not even gonna play around here. First of all, for those of you that watched, it was an amazing card. There were quite a bit of fights. I think it was 11 bouts on the card. And, we could break down all the fights. There were a lot. But I think what we really want to do is just kind of jump right into this Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia fight. So that's what we're going to do. And so, first of all, Harold, tell me what you got. You saw the fight last night. How did he come out to you?
Was that for me?
That was for Harold.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm glad Dwayne is here. So let me say what I think happened as far as the overall fight or the way they went about it. In my opinion, it was simply it was over pretty quickly when the skill sets were obviously seen, and it was just a matter of time. And, the aggressiveness stopped, and just the sheer boxing ability and understanding just really showed up in Tank's application. So I was happy to see it, and I think Ryan still came out on the good side of it.
Yeah, no. Okay, good. Well, that's a nice little opener there. And Coach Dwayne, tell me what your impressions were initially of the fight.
Well. First of all, so I want to just have I want to salute Ryan Garcia. I want to salute Ryan Garcia because I enjoyed the fact that the energy was to make this fight. And that's exactly what boxing needs. And I salute him because, quite honestly, a lot of his team wanted him to take a fight in between this fight before he was to take this Tank Davis fight. He decided to push for this fight, agreed to all these terms to make this fight happen. And as a fighter, I have so much respect for that because that's exactly what boxing needs. So he is to be commended. And I thought it was a really, really smart move for him to take this fight now because really he's not a 135 pounder. He's having trouble making this weight. So I thought that my thinking was he's 110% correct. This is his moment. His team did a great job of moving him, up the ranks and preparing him for this moment. They did a great job moving him. When you take a look at that Luke Campbell fight, was a step-up fight, and the Fortuna fight, these was all fights, great level fights for him to prepare for this opportunity. I thought the time was now. And as a fighter, what you want to be able to do is to find out what your level is. That's what anyone who's a competitor wants to do. He knew that this was his moment. He knows that this is going to be his last fight at 135. He's playing with house money because even if he loses, he's going to move up to 140. And so it just made sense
to take this loss.
Yeah, that was the I thought the timing on this from a big picture was just great for him and his team to really push for this fight. Now I don't want to give him I want to give he has followed a trend, but he's not the trend setter. The trend setter to this is Devin Haney, because Devin Haney is the first one who set this trend about, okay, I'll give you everything you want, right? I want to make this fight in spite of the promoters, in spite of all the politics of boxing. I'll do everything that you need me to do to make this fight. Devin Haney is the one who set that trend. Ryan Garcia stepped into that and followed that trend. And hopefully this trend will keep going.
But Haney's trying to get up, take a loss now. Haney doesn't want a loss now. So Ryan took this loss, just like you said. This is the time to take the loss. I'll take it. Canelo took one. Other people have taken one and it's been ignored. This is a good one to ignore.
Well, okay, so what you just did was you opened up a can of worms here, because now we're talking about Devin Haney in the picture. There's other people at lightweight that we need to be talking about too. But before we get into that, I just want to really break down the fight. I want the listeners who may not have seen the fight, because to be honest, this fight cost $90 to watch. And I didn't know that. Yeah, it was $90. Not everybody got an opportunity to get this fight. Yeah.
The zone was 60.
The zone was 60. Showtime was 90. And not everybody got a chance to watch the fight. But what I wanted to just say about the fight is, like a lot of the undercards, the fights that were televised on Showtime, they were middle of the rung fights. I don't think any of the fights were really spectacular, anything that I really would, be talking about at the water cooler the following day. They were just kind of like middle of the rung fights. They put all their money into the big fight. And when the big fight finally happened, let's talk about round one. Coach Dwayne, let's talk about how round one played itself out.
Well, all right. Okay. I was gonna try to build up to that, but we can we can talk about that. But before I do, let me back up a little bit, Coach. I just want to talk about going into this fight, right? Because when we're talking about fighting, we always talk about the spiritual, the mental, and the physical when we talk about boxing.
Preach it, Coach.
We talk about this all the time. There's three components, right? So going into this fight, I love the mental of a Ryan Garcia, to the point that when I watched him doing his interviews, I was convinced that he and his team, which is Goosen, who is an excellent trainer, right?
Agree.
During his interviews, you can see that his confidence level wasn't due because of bravado or forced confidence. It was because he had done the film study. They had they had a game plan. He believed that he was faster, which that's debatable. He probably is in certain areas of fighting, like in a mid-range area, he's faster, right?
Yeah.
He believed he could beat him there, right? He believed that he could catch this guy. He had the speed to catch this guy with something. And he was really confident about that. And you can see it in the interviews. He was not intimidated during that interview process. And he conducted himself in a very professional way, but he wanted to let Tank Davis know, my friend, I am not intimidated by you at all. Okay. And he held his ground during those interviews. And he came there to win. So I like the mental aspect of how his team had him ready. Okay. And I thought they handled the dehydration portion really good because they had professionals helping them rehydrate. And I thought he handled that well. Although even in some of the interviews, I see that his eyes were sucking in a little bit, so I know he was probably struggling a little bit with that. But I believe that wasn't an issue. It was an issue, but not had nothing to do with the outcome of this fight. Okay, so I just want to preference that before we talk about the fight. Okay? So all right, so.
You're a Ryan
so I
fan.
set that up. So, comments on?
You're a Ryan fan.
Yes. I thought I didn't. You know what? Know what's so funny, Coach? Know what's so funny? How I put it this way.
Because you are.
I was rooting for Tank, but I was betting on Ryan. Does that make sense? I'm rooting for Tank, but I'm betting on Ryan because I thought the odds were a little better on Ryan's side.
Either or.
Yeah, listen.
Would be the way to go.
Yeah, guys, this is the way it is. The way the whole betting circuit, all of the odds, they're never going to put the odds in favor of the guy that is supposed to win the fight. The money is on the other side. So it's kind of like when we talk about who we're rooting for, we're talking about our pockets. You gotta, if you're trying to make a little money, you go with the guy you think is not going to win. That's what you do. You have to do that. They don't make the odds with the guy that's going to win. So you got to go with the guy that's not going to win. That's the game. Thinking, okay, Ryan might be able to pull this thing off. And, Coach, we were talking about this fight, and I'm just going to stand in this spot because what we talked about in our last podcast, and for those of you that are listening in, if you didn't get to hear it, go back and listen to the last podcast because Harold and I really broke down this fight, and I was talking about the idea, what were the tools to victory? What was it going to be that was going to be necessary to win the fight? And we talked about the fact that Ryan Garcia needed to have a long fight. He needed to make the fight go the distance, and he needed to do that at the proper distance, which is far out, off his jab, long. But what we got in round one of the fight is we're standing there and we're watching Ryan Garcia come charging in. Actually, pardon me, it was round two that he did it. That, the top of round two with, I think, like 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. In round two, he's in there charging, attacking Tank Davis. So to your point, Coach Dwayne, yes, he had no fear. He really wanted to go in there and get that work done. But the problem with that is Tank is a machine, and Tank is he's a surgical operator. This is a guy that his best skill is fighting at a step, at a distance. When he's that close to you, you better be, first of all, low. That's number one. And number two, you better be sharp because if your defense is not on point, you are getting caught. So I want to say that to you. And then what I'd like to do, if you guys can, if I can pop this on real quick, okay, is I just want to show you this. I want you to see what I saw here in this clip, okay? So let me see if I can roll this.
The signal's in and out.
Boom.
Over here.
Y'all see that?
Yeah, I caught it. I'm familiar. It broke. It was in and out a little bit, but I did catch the tail end of it. Cool.
Let me try and roll that thing again for those of you that are tuning in, so I can mark you guys. So if you go back and watch the film, you'll see Ryan Garcia's right hand down. In the fight, Tank catches him with a left rear hook with that right hand down. That was something that he did in sparring, in training, in pad work. He was doing that in pad work. Okay, so if this is the thing we talk about, Coach, we talk about the importance. If you're, what you do in the gym is what you're going to do in the fight. And there's no mistake about it. It's unforgiving. If you are dropping your hands when you're hitting pads, what do you think you're going to do when you're actually fighting someone else? What are you going to do, Coach?
Yeah, no, you're 110% correct. So it's interesting when you show that clip, and I'll share with your listeners just some details about some of that stuff, right? But what I can say was that wasn't the game. That wasn't from what I can see. What Joe Goosen wanted Ryan to do was what he did in the first round, which is to keep him at a step and a quarter, keeping the jab busy, managing the distance, and just trying to create some kind of work from a step and a quarter, right? So the reason why I knew that Joe Goosen was pleased with that first round was because when he went back into the corner, he said to him, "That's the distance that
correct.
We want."
That's right.
Okay. And he was 110% about that. But let's just talk a little boxing now, right? So you got to remember, so you're watching what the other guys are doing, right? So now you got to watch what Tank is doing. Tank is the shorter man. You would think that the shorter man has to manage that step. Boxing is really about managing that step, right? So how are you going to manage that small distance? Who is the best at managing that distance, right? So Tank's strategy was to sink him in, to use his defense and to see if he can draw the taller guy in. So he's playing that game. So the first round was a good first round. They all are playing their game. Ryan wins that round just on the fact that, he's touching him a little more. Okay. Now this is where it gets crazy, right? And this is where we talk about mental, physically, and spiritually, the components about boxing, right? How all those things play together. We just discussed the mental part. He was ready mentally, right? They had him ready mentally. You could tell that by how he was interviewing, right? Well, he was ready spiritually, I meant to say, right? Ready spiritually, right? So going into the second round, here we go, Coach, to your point, where we're talking about drilling to the point. There's a difference between training. There's a difference between preparing a fighter and telling a fighter something to do and training it until you get compliance, right? So just because you tell someone something and you're telling them the right things doesn't mean that they understand the importance of why you're doing what you're doing. So what happens is you get yes to death. And then when you have a moment, all everything doesn't go as you want it to be planned. So now let's
Back
talk
to
about
normal.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Al.
Back to normal.
Right. So now how do you know that happened? Because now he comes out in the second round and his coach just told him that that's where he wanted him to be. He comes out in the second round, which also probably was one of their plans to push Tank, stay tight, and
Continue that. Yeah.
He didn't want that to happen that early. Ryan pushes Tank early to let him know to say, hey, I'm here to fight. Let's throw these hands. Because Ryan wanted to show that I came here to fight. And to his credit, he did not come here trying to not win this fight.
Be the B-side.
He did not come here, Hal. Exactly. He did not come here to be the B-side. He wanted Tank to know that. Okay? So, but that wasn't their plan. That wasn't Joe Goossen's plan early on because he said it, right? That was probably at some point in the fight, they probably was thinking about that's what they were going to do later on in the fight. But that wasn't his plan then. So let's talk about it. We want to talk about boxing. Let's talk a little about boxing, right? So when he tried to push him, this is what you're looking for as a trainer, as a coach. I'm not just watching Ryan's aggression. I'm watching how Tank is handling his aggression. And guess what's happening? Tank is handling that aggression. Ryan did not understand that this man is defensively minded. The man understands defense.
First.
So as he's pushing the fight,
and offense comes off that defense. Yes.
I'm watching the calmness of how Tank is handling that. I'm looking as a trainer, is my guy panicking or is he managing it? Now, he's losing the round, right? Not because of he's getting punishment. He's just losing because of Ryan's aggression, right? But it's not effective aggressiveness, right?
And you can't score that.
You can't, right.
It has to be effective aggression. Effective aggression. That's a part of the mandate to do the judge. Yes. So that's how I see it also.
Yeah. So, okay. So really quickly here, So we're looking at a situation where Tank Davis is being pushed. Ryan Garcia is pressing against probably the game plan, which I could see because anybody that was watching that fight knew that fight needed to be fought at Ryan's distance, with a long shotgun jab, up jab, straight jab, jab hook, something that was keeping him out. And, going in there, things started to significantly unravel once he started to do that. So I have another clip here. And for those of you that can't see the clip, I'm just going to share what's happening. You've got, what you're going to see in the clip here, if you're watching on YouTube, is Tank rolling an onslaught attack and Tank coming back with a left uppercut that sends Ryan Garcia on his butt. So here we go. We'll watch the clip real quick. And he rolls the shot. He drops underneath him. And then he delivers a left hand, boom, straight on the chin. Ryan Garcia goes down. He does jump up very, very quickly to get himself, back into the neutral corner. I'm good. Let's go back to work. And, that right there was the pivotal point in the fight, because that's when
the attitude was changed.
Yeah, the attitude was changed, but I think he also realized, no, I just made the biggest mistake of this boxing match. I just made a huge mistake. And as you said, Tank Davis, you could see his grimace. You could see him smiling in the fight. You could see him saying, I got you. And it was beautiful. It was so
early. That was the best part about it. The facial expressions and the body language, it told the story almost immediately.
Yeah.
And it was just, this thing just has to play out.
Yeah.
But it was seen quite early. And I enjoyed that cat and mouse there. It was fun. It was.
Yeah.
But Ryan, he took the loss.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, yes, he took the loss. And you know, the pundits and the people that
he'll be forgiven. Canelo was forgiven.
Yeah.
You can be forgiven, especially at a social situation he's in. But I still contend I would like to do this. The skill set was just simply too great.
Yeah.
And being on weight and all of this and the mindset and all that's a wonderful element. I get that. But the skill set just was not on par.
No, you know, Harold.
He was catnip to Tank in that regard. It just showed itself. And that's all it was. Maybe Ryan could pick up that kind of discipline as he goes forward. Of course, he's going to get anything he wants, whoever he wants to fight. But maybe if they meet later on.
Yeah, you know, Harold.
He had the discipline, or the skill set to fight with him.
I want to compliment you because in the last podcast that we had, we talked about this fight. And one of the things that you were, I was trying to level the fans out, knowing that this is a 50-50 fight. So in the last podcast, I was kind of, taking the Ryan side and saying, hey, look, Ryan is, he's more skilled than you think. And blah, blah. And you kept pushing the envelope. You kept saying, this is an issue of he's going to be outclassed. You didn't say that like that, but that's in essence your general demeanor in the last podcast. So I just want to, say, hey, listen, folks, Harold called it because Harold never wavered. He never wavered about who was going to win this fight and how it was going to go. The question now becomes, right, where does Ryan Garcia go? Does he step up and stay at the 140-pound weight class? Does he try to fight at 135? Or does he campaign? I'm just putting this out there. Does he campaign to get Tank to come up and do it at 40? Which, by the way, Ryan Garcia already said in the post-press conference, maybe we could roll this back, in a couple of years at 140. So what do you guys think? Harold, go.
Coach, I'm going to talk to you, Coach, because I want to hear what you got to say, Coach. Just quickly, I'm just saying, I think that later on at another weight class, they could have a fight for the titles.
Okay.
You saw clearly that he was not at a physical detriment. You said the eyes and, the way he looked and the way he moved, that, the weight loss was done properly. So if he did go up, I think he'd do well there. So they may meet at a higher weight class. I'm not even going to try to name which one. Maybe some belts would be involved. All
right. Coach D, what you got? Tell me what you think.
I'm going to answer that question, but I want to back up. I just want to share some things with your listeners about boxing, right? So we can understand some things, right? So we talked about that knockdown, right? But when we're talking about IQ and we're talking about skill set and we're talking about levels of boxing, right? So in that second round, when you watch that knockdown, some people think if you don't see the sport a certain way, you would think that that's just a knockdown that just happens. But if you watch that round, you'll see that Ryan Garcia shot a hook previous to that, right? And Tank obviously was preparing for that hook. So he knew preferences of that hook. He actually made Ryan Garcia throw that hook again. Now, let me show you something. Tank is not going to exchange with Ryan Garcia at a mid-range. He's not giving him that, right? But Ryan Garcia is not an inside fighter. He's a mid-range fighter.
Right.
Tank also is not an inside fighter. He's good defensively on the inside, which gives him opportunities for offense on the inside. Two different animals, yeah? Right?
With
He's not a great
his
inside
number one
fighter.
move. Yeah.
He's good. His defense is good on the inside, right? He's
Offense,
only
defense.
gonna go in mid-range when he has the green lights, when he knows that it's safe for him to go. And even when he goes on the inside, he's only going on the green lights. But he's defensive. He's not a great inside fighter. He's a great defensive inside fighter that creates offensive opportunities for him. Now, once he takes away that mid-range from Ryan Garcia, right? Ryan Garcia got to try to figure out, he's uncomfortable. I need my hook. What do I do next?
Took it away.
And all he needs now, he has to shoot that wide hook at the wrong distance. And because he's shooting that hook at the wrong distance, he just created
an opening.
He gave Tank the space that he needed. Ryan Garcia created that space, right?
With that
by trying to throw that left hook, right? And so he comes under that, and Ryan Garcia created that space because he was uncomfortable. He didn't know what should I throw, right? So in a situation like that, if you're a taller fighter, you got a guy underneath you, you have to change the angle to get that uppercut off and then turn that hook around, change the angles or push the head down. But because of the experience level, right? The experience level here we're talking, he literally created that opening and Tank made him do it.
Overextended the delivery, and he had to pay for it because he was opposition and took the hit.
Exactly. So that's just a little something for your listeners to understand the skill set, because you want to appreciate the skill of what's happening if they just see the knockdown. You have to understand that this young man is coming from a
defensive posture
very, very well
and working off the offense, and that's rare to see.
He's trained very, very well. Yeah.
No,
so
and this is a great conversation. This is really, guys, if you guys are tuning in on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, thank you for being with us. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and get those notifications. So when we go live, you guys can join us. And I'm just going to check and see if anybody's in the chat room here. But if you are, please leave your comments there, and we'll be happy to bring them onto the screen and bring you into the podcast. But hey, Q, what's up? I see you there. You're our most loyal listener. Thanks for being with us. And yeah, so, you guys bring up a good point about Tank Davis's defensive prowess. His offense is created off of that defense. And what's so beautiful about what he's doing, you can go back and you can look at everything from the Leo Santa Cruz fight. I'm not going to point out the Yurokis Gamboa fight because that was he had Gamboa cornered up in the corner, right? But if you go and you look at that fight, you look at Leo Santa Cruz, you look at Mario Barrios' fight, Isaac Cruz, Rolly Romero, Hector Garcia, and now Ryan Garcia. What you're going to see out of all of those fighters in all of those fights is you're going to see masterful inside work on all of them. He catches Leo Santa Cruz with the uppercut. He just lays. Leo Santa Cruz was on the ground smiling from the catch, from that uppercut that he got caught with. Rolly Romero, he went to sleep. He did not know where he was.
But he got up. And it was a very similar kind of aggression
that Ryan Garcia tried to execute on Tank Davis. Is the similar type of aggression that Rolly Romero put in place. And in both cases, they both got dropped with what? With the left hand. The left hand did it both times because you know what, Coach? Tank Davis has learned how to roll that lead hook, how to get that lead hook to be his bread and butter. Meaning when someone uses that left hook on him, he knows how to roll it. He knows how to roll it right into the right hand, right into his left hand. It's so amazing to watch. And I've gone back and watched it. You know, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I'm gonna just roll this back now that I said that. I'm just gonna roll this back so you can see what I'm talking about. There goes the left hook. He rolls that hook. He's outside of the shoulders and he catches him with the straight left hand, drops him. It's the same thing that he did with Rolly, except when he did it to Rolly, it was against the ropes. He was defensive. He was pulling out against the ropes, but it's the same exact shot.
On Rolly, he stepped outside the shoulder.
Well, he did last night too.
On this one, he didn't really roll. He ducked outside the shoulder because if you roll, you're going to lose power. So he ducked outside the shoulder on this one, and that's what gave him that power. But this is what we're talking about. The kid got every punch in the book. He knows how to shorten those shots. Everybody can't throw that shot. You got to practice that shot, right? Because that's a shortened shot. So now what happens? What happens to a Ryan Garcia when you can't follow the game plan because this moment is too big for you, right? Because obviously your coach just told you this is the distance that I want you to fight at, right? And then you jumpstart where he wanted you to be as far as your aggression. There's a difference between having a good fundamental jab and an educated jab. So because he doesn't have an educated jab, it's easy to take away his jab because the jab is not educated, it's fundamental. So now Tank has just taken away your jab.
Protection.
He just took away your jab. You just helped him because your jab is not educated, it's fundamental to sell. It's not educated, right? So you don't know how to work that front hand. So to be consistent with that front hand. So now that you don't have the front hand, you don't have an offense to go at the distance you're supposed to go because you can't go at the distance you're supposed to go without the jab, right? So now you can't go. What happens now? He's hesitant. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know where to go. Mm-hmm. He just tried to so he's hesitant. So now what does Tank do? Tank is a master now of when he sees you're hesitant, of knowing how to step into that space the right way and get to where he needs to be to hit you with the shots that he wants to hit you with. Right? So he controls that front hand and he takes away. You're not going to catch Tank leaning into the space, falling into those gaps. He steps into those gaps.
He steps in and executes. He looks for that and he steps right in.
So now your other plan, which is the counter, is gone, right? So you don't have the jab. You don't have the space to do the counter. You just try to be aggressive.
And he's in the pocket.
Aggressive.
And he's in the pocket.
You just try to be aggressive. Where do you go, coach, right? So, which leads to the knockdown. Now, the knockdown occurs not because, look, you can never, when someone gets hit with a punch, only thing a fan could say is there's a reason why he didn't get up, and it's because it hurt it, okay? Forget what it looks like on TV. You can never question someone's pain, right? So obviously he got hit with that shot, and the reason why he got hit with that shot because Tank started stepping to him, got the distance that he needed to be to drop that shot. Now if he would have tried to drop that shot from a distance, he would have got countered, right? But he steps into the space, gets the distance that he needs, and drops that shot. The boy doesn't have the defense for that. So now you have to ask yourself, because I watched his eyes when it was time for him to get up. And how you tell me what you think about this, because I watched his eyes. At 7 or 8, he could have gotten up. Right? I don't want to say, look, I don't want to question somebody's pain, right? Right? But I knew but I can't fairly say this. At 7, he knew he was supposed to get up. He was aware that the count was at 7. That's fair to say, right? Now, when he tried to get up, I don't know, maybe he felt something when he tried to get up and it hurt it and he just couldn't get up. But it's fair to say that at 7, he was aware that he needed to get up. Okay?
Agree with that.
Right? He was aware that he needed to get up. So now he could have tried to get up and the pain was too much and so forth and so on. But when I looked at his eyes, what I seen was the question that he needed to have answered was answered in his eyes. And in his eyes, in his mind, it looked like to me that he says, I can't beat this man. And it's only going to get worse if I get up. Right? When I looked at his, when I looked at his eye, that's what I see. Now, again, you can't talk about somebody's pain. I didn't get hit with the punch. So he could have tried to, and it was just too much. He couldn't get up because it hurt him. But I also seen, because of the mental breakdown, that he tried everything that he needed to do. And mentally he says, hey, I just tried everything. I tried my jab. I tried my counters. I tried to push the fight. None of this stuff is happening for me, right? This guy, remember when Alex Aguayo fought Aaron Pryor, Harold? When during the second fight, Alex Aguayo told the referee, and Alex Aguayo said this. He said, keep counting, buddy. He told the referee, he said this in my mind. He said this in his mind. He said, keep counting, buddy. Because he said he knew that at that moment, he wasn't too sure about the first fight because he thought he had did good the first fight. But the second fight, he knew. He said, man, I can't beat this man. So just keep counting. If I get up, I'm just going to get hurt, right? So I think Ryan had that kind of a moment along with the pain.
I think also optics played a part. He saved himself that footage of a negative knockout.
Oh.
It was wise and it was smooth and it was smart. You don't want that image following you. He saved himself from that. Like I said, Coach, he laid a nice feather bed for his defeat. And now he's laying on it.
Coach. Coach Dwayne.
I like that, Harold. I like that because you're right about that. I like the fact that optics played. Hey, listen, he lost. He didn't take a beating, right? He lost, but he didn't take a beating. He didn't get maybe he can fight in another, what is it, Harold? Another 3 months or so?
Yes, because it was a T. Yes. Well, no, he was a KO. So He may have, all states have different, but he was able to go to his photo shoots tomorrow. He's going to be rebooked because he didn't have any facial situations. And he has no negative pictures of any knockouts.
Listen, guys, we know a liver shot, everyone is going to go out. That's the button. That's the off button, period.
Yes.
He gets a pass for that. If I press your off button, you're off.
Yes.
Yeah,
good.
Guys,
he was
listen.
Clearly, I like his entire optics.
Listen, you guys, hold on 1 second. So here you go. He's getting a pass. He got short-circuited in the liver. He could have got up, but he didn't get up. He lives to fight another day. Yeah. He lives to make a couple more mil whenever that time comes.
Yes.
Right? So what for those of you that are listening in, what is it that you've learned from this fight? What is it that you two have learned from watching this fight happen?
All is forgiven. You can have one. You can have one.
So you get a pass for your first KO as long as it's a body shot.
If it's to the right people, the right situation, my whole mindset was correct coming into it.
Yeah. Yo, do you know that
I applied the whole situation on Ryan's side?
Hey, I applied. Hey, Hal, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
I'm on this side, Coach. I'm on this side.
Listen, you guys. Listen. Wait.
Hey, I totally agree with you. Hey, he knew. Hey, like you said, he can go to his photo op. Okay. He didn't take a beat. He got paid. Also, for him as a fighter, what he's proud about is that he doesn't have to say what if.
Yes.
He went and took his shot, at his last shot, and he knows he's going to move up to 140. So he says, "Let me take this shot," and I salute him. That's what warriors do. And he took that shot, and he needs to be saluted for that effort, right? And that's just a beautiful thing. But at the same time, he is playing with house money. A loss to Tank Davis at 135 does not hurt him at all.
No, that's the.
All right, so you guys, listen. I just saw. Okay, so this is what just came across the wire. So Ryan Garcia has officially announced that he is going to be campaigning at 140 pounds. So check that out. Okay, that's what's happening. It's official. All right. You just heard it right here on the Boxing Breakdown. Ryan Garcia reveals last night, Saturday night, that he is ready to officially start campaigning at 140 pounds moving forward with his career after his 7th round knockout loss to Gervonta Davis in their 136-pound catch weight fight. It is official. It just broke. So that's happening. I mean, we know where Ryan Garcia is going, right? Ryan's main threats at 140 pound are guys like Subriel Matias. We know that guy. He's a beast, right? We know Regis Prograis is there. Nobody wants to fight Regis Prograis. You got Josh Taylor, who's at, I think Josh Taylor's at 140. Jose Ramirez. Let me just run these names down really quick. Jose Ramirez, Richardson Hitchison, Jose Zapata, Teofimo Lopez is right there. Gary Antoine Russell is there. Arnold Barboza is there, and Brandon Lee is there. Brandon Lee, those guys are down at the bottom of that pack. But Regis Prograis and Subriel Matias, if y'all haven't seen him fight, get him on your radar because Subriel is quite a devastating puncher. He's an amazing boxer, got a great ring IQ. But these are the guys that are waiting for Ryan Garcia. I'm not sure that bigger is better. But okay, let's talk about what happens next for Gervonta Tank Davis. Let's talk about that because, he is, for all intent and purposes, he is officially the face of boxing right now. So let's get into that. So I'm saying the only fight that's out there that makes any kind of sense that's going to be a payday. The only one that's out there is Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis equals let's go, baby. That is a fight that I want to see. I don't know about you guys. Weigh in.
Not next.
Weigh in.
Next.
So, Coach, again, I hate to, but I don't want to brush over this 140 thing. I'm gonna come back to this Shakur thing, okay? But I want to say something. A lot of these guys will keep thinking that they're gonna move up to 140, and it's gonna be peaches and cream at 140, and they got a big problem because you've got some cats that don't have the media coverage, but they look like they are pretty good fighters to me. And I'm going to tell you who my sleeping horse is at the 140, who I like. And I'm going to tell you who I like. I like Gary Russell. See? Yeah. Now, I like Gary Russell. People don't understand that Gary Russell's amateur pedigree is extremely, extremely high. People don't know that he also beat Terrence Crawford in the amateurs. Right? This kid comes from a boxing, fighting family.
Yes, I like him a lot.
Okay, and these guys are, listen, when you talk about, you hear the narrative a lot about, the narrative, boxers and the news people love to push the narrative of Mexican heart, and that's a beautiful thing, and I salute that. I think that's true. Right, we salute that, but what you also have to salute is African Americans' excellence. You have to salute African excellence, right? Gary Russell and his family, they wear that very, very well, right? These guys are so. We talk about the core, the spirit of a person, of having a fighter's attitude. These guys cut from that cloth. So I really like Gary Russell, and I'm curious to see how that division is gonna weigh out. But for those guys, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, even Devin Haney, brother, don't think that you're just gonna come up to 140 and you're just gonna be the king at 140. You might be drinking your own Kool-Aid.
Listen,
be very, very careful.
Listen, Ryan Garcia going up to 140. I mean, we understand that Ryan Garcia has tons and tons of work that lays in front of him that he has to do, because Ryan Garcia has done a great job at fighting fighters that are not on his level, that he can easily walk down and catch. And, occasionally he got caught in the process of moving, getting to where he is today. And I understand that. I understand that he's on his own journey. He's going where he's going. But if he thinks he's going to go to 140 pounds and have any kind of monetary success, capturing a belt or otherwise at 140 pounds, listen, Regis Prograis is the real deal. Regis Prograis is 10 times, 15 times more aggressive than Gervonta Davis. I mean, I don't know if y'all have seen it, but I'm just saying.
I love it.
Regis Prograis, you got guys up there at 140. I don't see it. I do not see 140 working out for Ryan Garcia. God bless him and good luck there. But I'm not seeing that 140 is really the answer. I think 135 is the answer for him with some significant work on his skill sets. And I think, quite honestly, if you're listening, Ryan Garcia, Coach Dwayne and I are both for hire. You could hire us, and we'd be happy to come in and work with you and teach you the things you need to know to win those fights. I'm just being straight up.
Cow, though. Garcia is the cash cow.
Yeah, well,
so
exactly.
If he goes to 140, he'll have all the fights he wants. If he can win them, that's great, but he's bringing money to that division.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he does have to.
Said, let's talk boxing. Well, let's talk that,
yeah.
And he's going to be. Everyone's going to make money with him.
No, and to your point, Harold, he does need to stay active. There's no doubt that Ryan Garcia needs to be active. He's got so many fans. He's got so many people that support him, and so many people. I mean, he's still an attraction on the highest level of the sport. Ryan Garcia is an attraction.
And he can get some paydays for those guys he's fighting.
Yeah, that's right.
Howard, that's a very good point. Like he is the cash cow immediately. He's more of a cash cow than any of the other guys that's moving up. You're 110% correct about that. And so immediately, he better really go to the lab, because immediately he will get those big fights.
He will. He will get those. So he's got to pick and choose. He tried to pick and choose with Tank, I think, initially, until life set in, but he has an opportunity to beat a lot of those guys you just talked about. Some of them he better stay away from, but he has some great possibilities to beat some of those guys.
Yes,
that we deem have merit at 140. So maybe 2 fights, he does well. We don't know, but he has growth, and I see the growth, and as you know, when you've been in with Tank, you learn quite a bit.
Yes, he learned a lot from this fight.
Yes.
He learned a lot from this fight, because this was a very good growth fight for him.
And he was cognizant to understand what happened, how it happened. He was able to reflect in his right mind, right, and to really condense what he got. And I can but applaud the whole thing, Coach, and I know you loving him right now, but I can't do nothing but appreciate what he did. So moving forward, 140 sounds fun for me, for him to do that.
I think so too, Howard. I really think so. I think one of the big things that he learned, and Coach knows this with every boxer, at some point, and they got to have this attitude, but at some point, they can start drinking their own Kool-Aid. And don't think that there's things that they need to improve on. He just tested his level. He belongs at that level, obviously, right? He's obviously at the level above of Fortuna and Luke Campbell. He proved that, right? Because he beat them, right?
Yes.
He's a little bit below the Tank Davises, right? So he knows that he had things he needs to work on. He's not drinking that Kool-Aid thinking that I have arrived. That's going to help him. That's going to help him grow more. Just that attitude.
Absolutely.
That attitude adjustment that he just got from Tank Davis.
Yeah.
The one you do after work, the attitude adjustment at the bar. What was it, 6 o'clock or whatever? When you get off work, you attitude adjustment. That's what he experienced with that.
Oh, dude. You guys, listen. Listen, we could do this all day, all night long, and certainly we're rounding out the hour. It's been a pleasure to be with both of you. And those of you listening in, thank you for spending your time with us. Thank you for being with us on the Boxing Breakdown. And really, really don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the notifications there on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, don't forget to give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. And go back and listen to that amazing breakdown that we did pre-fight, because that breakdown was amazing. But this breakdown, thank you, Coach Dwayne, for being with us, because you gave us some great insight into the techniques that are necessary to be victorious. I know there's a lot of fighters that listen to the podcast, and
Yes. I was trying to be a part of the show, but I was in school. I was in church, and I was just I wanted to respond, but it was so good. So thank you, Coach. I have a role to play in this thing, right? And I couldn't play the role because what you were saying was so interesting, and I was feeling everything. I forgot my role. So thank you for coming on, just breaking my little vibe. And Mark have.
Yo, Harold.
They need to see, two coaches of operative expertise, pontificate. And you did just that to the point it mesmerized me.
Okay, Harold.
Well, Coach, I always love coming. I always love coming on the show. We all a family, and it's always good to see you guys. Always good to talk to you guys.
Thank you guys so much, and listeners, thank you for being with us. Until next time, we will see you on the next episode of the Boxing Breakdown. Peace and love, and stay safe.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.
And my partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt. I got you, bro. Peace and love.